me again. I'm determined to get the final two chapters done today, and then I'll probably read again tomorrow until chapter 14, hopefully. Okay, so chapter 8. I was a bit tired myself, even though I've been wide awake most of the night. For a while, I lay beside Mum, planning more things I was going to do with Alfie. Then I got a bit peckish and went into the kitchen to scoop a handful of cornflakes out of the packet. They gave me a great idea. I'll make us breakfast in bed. Hadn't made Mum breakfast in bed since the time I forgot about the toast, and the smoke made the alarm go off. Luckily, when she got over the shock, she just thought it was funny. The time before that, I tripped over carrying the tray, and the orange juice went all over Mum's cream mug. She didn't mind that funny at all, but she didn't find that funny at all because the sting wouldn't come out. And when I was really little and not allowed to boil a kettle, I ducked a tea bag in stone cold water, hoping that Mum wouldn't drink it anyway. And she did, though it must have tasted revolting. This time I was going to make her breakfast fit for a queen. I got out our best tray, and with the 2 cats on it. Watch out, I said. Better run fast when you see my dog Alfie coming. I haven't trained him yet. We had little blue cats on our nicest mugs too. I'm going to have to buy some mugs, dog mugs, I told them as I carefully poured boiling water into the tea bags and added milk without a single splash. I spread the golden toast with butter and honey and poured a portion of cornflakes in 2 bowls, not adding milk till the last moment so they wouldn't go soggy. We had orange juice in the fridge, but I decided that might be too much of a risk. I made the tray look pretty by snipping a rose from Sean Jeffrey's bunch and putting it in an egg cup. Then I carried the tray into Mum's bedroom, step by cautious step. Breakfast is served, Your Majesty, I said. You're expecting me to trip at the last minute and spill everything all over the bed, aren't you? But I didn't. I hung onto the tray until Mum had sat up. Then I put it carefully on her lap. Wow, Jess, you're a little star, she said. Sean Joffrey is coming, isn't he? You did message him last night. Sean. And you know I did. And what if he's late like last Sunday? He won't be, and stop fussing. Battersea Dogs and Cats Home doesn't even open till 10:30 today, I checked, said Mum. Come on, jump into bed with me and share this lovely breakfast. So we ate it together and then had a cuddle. I had a sudden thought and slid down under the covers. Jess, what are you doing? Playing at being a bunny in a burrow? Remember, that was one of our favourite games when you were really little, said Mum. She tried to pull me up. What was it? We'll never be able to have cuddles like this when we live with Sean Joffrey, I said. Of course we can have our cuddles. Most days, Sean gets up at some unearthly time, like 5:30, so he can go and train with a few other obsessities. We'll have a couple of hours snoozy time cuddled up together, you and me. Though maybe your Alfie will need to go out for a wee at the crack of dawn, said Mum. He's going to be totally your responsibility, okay? Absolutely, I said. Exactly how early do dogs need to get up? We spent the next half hour looking up how to care for a rescue dog on Mum's phone. I'm not sure about all this weeing and what have you. Sean's so house proud. He won't want his carpets messed up, said Mum. I'm sure Alfie's trained. He's not a little puppy, and if he's not, it'll only take a couple of days to teach him to ask to go out, I said. It took you much longer than a couple of days, said Mum, and even if he is trained, he'll be feeling stressed, and that can have a disastrous effect on the bladder. You know Wendy Peter, the boy at the children's home with the same birthday as me? When he first arrived there, he was always wetting his bed. Did you ever wet the bed, Mum? I asked. No, I did not, cheeky. Come on. You better have first bath. Hey, we can have a bathroom each at Sean's. Imagine. Mum stretched luxuriously. I can't believe we're actually going to be rich. You'll be able to have a beautiful bedroom like Alice's, and lovely clothes, and you can have all the lessons they have, like ballet and piano, and maybe it will send you to their posh private school too. Wouldn't that be great, Jess? No, no more tough kids like Tyrone gang up on you. I tried to picture it. I'm usually very good at imagining, but somehow I couldn't imagine it. Perhaps I'd already used up all my imaginative powers for the day thinking about Alfie. We still had hours to wait before we could set off for Battersea, but I was so impatient I could hardly sit still. After I got dressed, I paced round and round the flat, driving Mum mad. Hey, nip down to the newsagent, said Mum, phoning at her fingernails. I think Elmo sells nail varnish remover. My nails are all chipped. Sean's very fussy about stuff like that. She gave me a note to put safely in my pocket, and I went down all the stairs. The lift was actually working, but at every twist of the stairs I wanted to jump 2 steps to look. At the very end I did 3 steps, and very nearly wobbled over onto my knees. But I managed to save myself, and then spread my arms triumphantly like a gymnast. What are you doing, pretending to be Batman? Tyrone was lounging against the wall, smoking a cigarette. He was doing it very subconsciously, making a great to-do of holding it between 2 fingers and narrating his eyes in supposedly bliss as he inhaled. Then he coughed violently, which spoiled the effect. What are you doing, pretending you're a smoker? I said. I looked at him closely. His short hair was sticking out sideways where he'd slept on it. He was wearing a grubby t-shirt and tracky bottoms, as if he'd just got out of bed. Maybe he had just got up, because he had no socks on and his trainers were unlaced. He wasn't wearing a jumper either, even though it was a fresh morning. Do you want a puff? Said Tyrone, offering it to me. No, thanks, I said. You can have your own fag if you like, he said, reaching into his pocket. I don't like cigarettes, I told him, shaking my head. Where are you going then? Amos. Getting chocolate and crisps and stuff? Tyrone asked softly. Give me something, eh? I'm happy to share my fags with you. I don't want to share them. I'm getting my mum some nail varnish remover. Do you fancy a swig of that? I said. Oh, ha ha ha, very funny. Tyrone walked beside me, holding his cigarette out ostentatiously. What did your mum give you? A fiver? You could buy a Kit Kat and a pack of crisps out of that. Cheese and onion, they're the best. Go on, get us some. I haven't had no breakfast. What are you doing, wasting money on cigarettes then? I said primly. I don't buy them. I nick them off my mum's boyfriend, Tyrone paused. I can't stick him. I blinked at him. I can't stick my mum's boyfriend either, I said. What? Don't talk rubbish. Your mum's going out with Sean Joffrey. I've seen him picking her up in his red Porsche SUV. I'd give anything for my mum to go out with Sean Joffrey. Not that he'll pick her. Your mum's quite a looker, in a funny sort of way. Mine's rubbish, said Tyrone. I was shocked to hear him speak about his own mother like that. I struggled to say something polite about her in return, but I couldn't think of anything. We've just had a row, said Tyrone, because I cheeked her boyfriend. So he gave me a clip round the ear, and I said some stuff, and Mum chucked me out of the flat. She chucked you out? I echoed. See if I care, especially as I've got his fags, said Tyrone swaggering. I tried to imagine Sean Joffrey slapping me and Mum throwing me out of the flat. I was a bit ashamed for feeling sorry for myself. It was far worse being Tyrone. We walked to the shops in the middle of the estate. Amma was sitting on the floor sorting out the Sunday papers. He grunted at us. He doesn't like children very much. Come in separate, he barked. He's got his new rule that children have to go in one at a time, so he can keep an eye on them. He says that otherwise one will distract him while the other nicks something. He's probably right. You stay outside, I told Tyrone. He was bending down, clutching his stomach. What's up? I asked. Hunger pains, he groaned. He was only messing about, but I bought him a Kit Kat and cheese and onion crisps all the same. It meant I could only buy a small size of nail varnish remover, but I hoped Mum wouldn't mind. Oh, you're a star, said Tyrone. Then I handed them to him outside the shop. He wolfed down the crisps in less than a minute and then snapped the Kit Kat in half to give me my share. No, it's okay. I've had a proper breakfast. I thought about it. You could come to ours and have some too. Cornflakes and toast and that. Is John Joffrey there? Tyrone asked eagerly. No, but he's coming soon. We're going to Battersea Dogs and Cats Home to get my dog, Alfie, I said proudly. You're getting a dog, you lucky thing. But they won't let you keep it. I got this dog. Well, I found him in the street, and he didn't belong to me, belong to no one. So I looked after him. At first he was frightened, but I was dead gentle, and then he really loved me. But some pig shopped me, and the council told us we had to get rid of him. He went to Battersea. If you see a tan Staffy there, he's my dog. And tell him it's not my fault, eh? Said Tyrone, staring at his Kit Kat. What did you call him? I asked. I just called him Staffy. If you say it, he'll look up at you. He knew his name, said Tyrone. Can I really come for breakfast? Won't your mum be mad? Of course not, I says, though I wasn't at all sure. When Tyrone knocked me over, Mum had been mega mad at him. He's still the enemy in her books, and once my mum thinks you're the enemy, she goes on hating you no matter what. She looked astonished when she saw Tyrone with me. What are you doing here? Are you picking on Jess again? She says, hands on her hips. Mum, you know Tyrone is my mate now, I said. Can he come in for some breakfast? He says. He's starving, I said. He's got a Kit Kat rammed in his mouth, said Mum. Yes, but he hasn't had proper breakfast. I lowered my voice. His mum chucked him out because they had a row. I'm not surprised. If he was mine, I'd chuck him out too. But all the while Mum was saying all this, she was getting out the cornflakes again and putting the kettle on to boil. Sit down here, kid, and stop wasting your money on junk food. Jess bought it for me, said Tyrone, swallowing the last of his bar and getting started on a big bowl of cornflakes. She did what? With my change? That'll come out of your pocket money, Jess Beaker, said Mum, staring at her nails. That stuff gets up my nose, Tyrone complained. Tough, said Mum. You don't eat those cornflakes dry like that. Put some milk on. We don't bother with milk at home, said Tyrone, grabbing a handful of cornflakes. Looks like you don't bother with spoons either. Polish up your manners, kid. Is Sean Joffrey really your boyfriend? Tyrone asked with his mouth full. Yep, said Mum. And Jess really is getting a dog. Yep, Mum said again. But we're not allowed to have dogs on the Duke estate, said Tyrone. I told Jess. I don't want her getting upset when she has to give her dog away like I did. Mum didn't quite look so fierce then. Yes, but we're not staying here. We're moving, she said. Where? Tyrone asked, looking alarmed. We're going to live with Sean, Mum said proudly. Tyrone actually stopped eating. He stared. You lucky beggars, he said softly. You could come to tea when we're there if you want, I said, surprising myself. I hadn't even asked Alice to tea yet, and she was my best friend in all the world. I can't really, can I? Said Tyrone, looking at Mum. Well, we'll have to see, she said, staring at the paint her nails silver. See if Sean Joffrey will let me come, and it's his house. Yeah, well, it'll be mine too, said Mum, and Jess's. And Alfie's, I said. He'll want you to come because you like dogs. John Jeffrey seemed to like Tyrone too. This time he came 5 minutes early. He raised his eyebrows when he saw Tyrone tucking into his second bowl of cornflakes. You didn't tell me you had a son too, Trace, he said. Oh, very funny, said Mum. Oh, so, who are you then, lad? Jess's boyfriend? No, I said indignantly. Tyrone went pink and choked on his cornflakes. Pleased to meet you, Mr. Godfrey, he said, leaping up and holding out his hand. In his haste, he nudged the milk jug, and it went flying. Oh, for Pete's sake, Mum snapped, rushing for a dishcloth where Tyrone dabbed effectively at the puddle with the hem of his t-shirt. Let me do it, said Mum, elbowing him out of the way. It's gone all over the floor. I'll have to mop it all up or it'll smell. Don't bother about it, Tracy. You'll be out of this dump soon enough, said John Joffrey. It's not a dump, I said, stiffering. How dare he call it that when we'd made it look like a little palace? No, no, it's not, said Mum. She stood up straight, her hands clenched around the dishcloth so that a little milk trickled onto the floor. Sean Joffrey looked baffled. I've heard you call it a dump yourself, he protested. You just didn't get it. Mum could call it anything she wanted, but it was still ours, and she tried so hard to make a lovely home for us. She looked as if she was about to lose her temper big time. Sure, lady, said Sean Joffrey quickly. He shook his head at Tyrone. See the trouble you've got me into. He was joking, but Tyrone took him seriously and bent his head in shame. It was so weird seeing him act like a dumb little kid when he usually seems so big and menacing. Cheer up, lad. Only kidding. Here, have you got a phone? Do you want a selfie? Tyrone nodded. Please. While Tyrone was setting up his phone, Sean Joffrey went over to Mum. Sorry, darling. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Or the kids. You know me. I just don't think, he said softly. No, you don't, she said, still sounding angry. But when he gave her a kiss on the cheek, she took a deep breath, finishing mopping, rinsed out the dishcloth, and then went to get her jacket. It was the first time I'd seen her stop herself flying into a temper. Miss Oliver would have been astonished. I don't know how I felt about it. I hated Sean Joffrey thinking that our lovely home was a dump, when it was absolutely nothing of the kind. He kept it so clean and neat, and the colours were lovely, and every chair and cushion and picture was carefully chosen. Every ornament a memento of a happy day, browsing in junk shops or ambling about around boot fairs. Our flat might be very small and cramped compared with Sean Joffrey's mansion, but I liked it much better. Still, we couldn't have dogs here, and I desperately wanted Alfie. I suppose Mom desperately wanted Sean Joffrey. Crazy as that may seem, we had to put up with him saying stupid things. He actually being quite tactful with Tyrone. He asked him if he was in a football, and they had a boring natter about matches and teams and schools. When we went downstairs, the four of us, Sean Joffrey, spotted his bashed out football in the gutter and kicked it to Tyrone. He kicked it back, and they started playing footy. It was still quite early, so not a lot of people were up, but the kids locking about and the old ladies setting off for church and the guy coming back from Amara's shop with a carton of milk and a Sunday paper all gored in ore. John Joffrey showed off with a lot of fancy footwork, which made the kids clap, but then he stopped to show Tyrone how to do it. Tyrone was surprisingly good at catching on and did a passable flick himself. Well done, lad. You've got talent, said Sean Joffrey, patting him on the back. Tyrone's pinkness became positively neon. He followed us to the flash red car and ran his hand lightly and lovingly over the gleaming paintwork. Fantastic wheels, he murmured. Want to come for a spin? Sean Joffrey asked. What, to Battersea? Then I could see my staffy. Tyrone cried. But suddenly his mum came lumbering up. She still had her bedroom slippers on, and last night's mascara was smudged around her eyes. "Oh, you!" she shouted. "I've been looking for you all over, you little tyke. Wait till I get you home." "But, Mum, this is Jean Geoffrey, and he's giving me a ride in his car." Geoffrey, Mum. You know, the footballer." Tyrone gasped. "I don't care if he's David Bloomin' Beckham. You're not going off in any strange bloke's car." "But it's with Jess too, and her mum Tracy Beaker," said Tyrone. "Yeah, well, Tracy Beaker," said his mum as she collared him and started dragging him away. "She said something very rude about my mum." Thank goodness Mum was getting into the car and didn't hear. She certainly wouldn't have been able to control her temper this time. "Poor Tyrone," said Jean Geoffrey as we got into the car. "He is really good at football?" I asked. "Well, he's not bad," he said. "He can come and join my junior squad if he likes. We do a general fitness workout and then football training. I'm strict with the kids. No point letting them mess about wasting everyone's time, but they seem to have fun." "The mother of his would never fork out for anything like that," said Mum. "Well, seeing as he's Jess's pal, I'll let him in for nothing." "Oh, darling, that's so sweet of you, isn't it, Jess?" "You could come too, Jess. It's for girls as well as boys," said Jean Geoffrey. "No, thank you," I murmured. "It's not really my thing. I hated most games. I couldn't catch a ball or throw it accurately. I wasn't great at running either. On sports day, I came last in the egg and spoon race. I wish there was a sport called reading a book, where competitors had a choice, choose the best book in the library, find the coziest corner and read. There could be different categories. The sprint, where you just had to read a page. The 5,000 meters, where you read a chapter. The 10,000 meters, where you read two. And the marathon, where you read the whole book. I bet I'd win every race. Most of the children in my class didn't like reading at all. Miss Oliver once told us about a scheme where children read to dogs to give them confidence. I wondered if she'd let me take Alfie to school. My tummy felt tight as I wondered whether Alfie was still curled up in his dog bed, waiting for me. Perhaps some other family had come along and they decided he'd be better off with them. I got more and more tense the nearer we got to Battersea. Jean Geoffrey was looking at me in his driving mirror. "Are you feeling sick again, Jess?" he asked, alarmed. "Try to hold it in, kid. Not on the upholstery." "She won't be sick. She's just feeling anxious, that's all," said Mum. "We're nearly there, Jess." When we got out of the car, I felt a bit wobbly, but I couldn't just stand still and take a few deep breaths. I set off at such a pace, I might have found myself winning a race after all. I was so out of breath when I got to the dog's home that I could hardly speak. "We've come to see Alfie," I gasped to a girl in a blue Battersea t-shirt. We hurried past all the other dogs. I saw one brown Staffordshire Bull Terrier, so I paused to say hello, Staffy, to him, but he didn't even glance my way. When we got to Alfie's kennel, it was empty. "He's gone," I cried. "No, he's not. He can't be. Look, it says reserved on his kennel." "Perhaps he's tucked himself away in a corner somewhere," said Mum. "He's not anywhere. Look, someone else has got him." Oh, I loved him so much. I struggled not to cry. Cheer up, Jess. There's lots of dogs to choose from, said Sean Joffrey. What about this fluffy little mutt over here? But there's a German Shepherd. They're great guard dogs. We don't actually need to get a dog from here at all. We can go to a breeder and get a proper pedigree dog, any kind you like. We want a rescue dog, said Mum. We want Alfie, I said, and the tears started dripping down my cheeks. Ca- Cam said they reserved him for you. It says so in his kennel. So what are they prying at? Mum demanded. They're not going to get away with this. If they're giving Alfie to someone else, then they'll jolly well have to get him back. He's ours, isn't he, Jess? Yes, said Mum. I snivered. No need to get in such a state, Trace. You can't go throwing your weight around in here, said Sean Joffrey. Watch me, said Mum, and she squared her small shoulders and marched back along the corridor. Sean Joffrey and I had to hurry to keep up with her. He winked at me. Your mum can be very forceful at times, can't she? He said. I didn't like him talking about Mum like that. For once, I was glad she was in a strop. Maybe she really would get Alfie back for me. She barged her way to the front of the queue at the reception desk. I'm sorry about this. It's an emergency, she explained when people objected. My daughter was promised a specific dog, Alfie. He was reserved for my Jess, but he's not in his kennel. He's obviously been given to someone else, which is simply unforgivable. Look at my little girl. It's broken her heart. You're going to have to track down Alfie because Jess saw him first. The bossy lady smiled at Mom reassuringly. It's okay. Of course we wouldn't give Alfie to anyone else. He's probably just gone for his walk with a member of staff. All the dogs are taken out for a run. Look, I can see someone coming back. Maybe Alfie is one of them. And he was. Another Battersea lady had him on a long blue lead. His head was up and he was staring straight at me, as if he really recognized me. Alfie, I called, squatting down and holding my arms out wide. He came running towards me and then started licking my face, mopping up my tears for me. Oh, Jess, said Mum. There now. I told you there was no need to get upset, babe, said Sean Joffrey. Aren't you going to apologize to the girl at the desk? Don't call me babe, and don't tell me what to do, Mum hissed. Then she turned to the queue and the Battersea lady and said, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have barged in and I shouldn't have yelled at you like that. But I was just so upset. My daughter's been waiting for a dog for years, and now at last it's possible, and she's just fallen in love with Alfie. You know what she's like. You know what it's like. They did seem to know what it was like, because everyone's smiling now. We had to go to another room with another lady to fill out in more forms. Our Mom and Sean Joffrey had to show some identification. Though, of course, we already know who you are, Mr. Godfrey, said the third Battersea lady. And all this time she was holding Alfie's lead, but he was licking my face and bouncing about and scraping at my leg, wanting my whole attention. He's telling you he wants to be your dog, said the lady. Well, I want to be his girl, I said. He's the best dog in the world. Do you know his history? Mum asked. Where was he brought here? He looks like he was a nice nature, but does he ever get wound up or aggressive? Like someone I know, Sean Joffrey muttered, chucklingly. Mum threw him a look. I've got to be careful. I don't want Jess getting bitten, she said. I don't mind if Alfie has anger issues, I said quickly. I'll be very understanding. Alfie's got a lovely temper, the Battersea lady assured us. We always get to know our dogs and make sure they go to the right homes. We wouldn't let an aggressive dog go to a home with children. No, his former owner simply couldn't look after him anymore, so she brought him here for rehoming. How could anyone not want to look after Alfie? I exclaimed, hugging him. It happens, Jess, said Mum. Maybe she was thinking about Granny Carly not looking after her. Sorry, Mum, I said softly. It's okay, sweetheart. Right, say goodbye to all your Battersea friends, Alfie. You're coming with us, she said. I took Alfie's lead and walked out with him. Hey, best dog in all the world, I said. You're really mine now. Alfie gave an extraordinary bark, as if he understood every word. He pulled on his lead, urging me onwards. Heel, boy, I said. He took no notice and went bounding ahead, zigzagging this way and that, winding his lead around me. Oh. Then he stopped to do a wee. which made me giggle. That's it, Alfie. Wee-wee's outside, not indoors, said Sean Jeffries. Don't worry, I'm sure he's properly trained, Mum said quickly. Alfie seemed uncertain about getting into the car, so I had to lift him in and then keep him cuddled up on my lap. When the car got going, he started trembling, so I whispered into him soothingly, It's all right, Alfie, you're safe with me. We're taking you to a new home. Then I stopped. Where are we taking him? We're taking him to our new home, said Mum. Change your plan. We're moving in with Sean straight away. I'm just going to pause it there for a minute because this phone's going to die. I'm just going to get the charger. And no one's online, no one said anything. So yeah, I can't do this. Oh my god! To get the charger. Foot is stuck. There we go. So this needs to go over here. Dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee. And then this goes in here. There. Yeah, now it's charging. Ooh, message. Oh. It's just given. Okay. Back to the book. Chapter 9. We had to go back home for our things. Of course, Mum packed quickly while I took Elfie for a walk all around the Duke estate. We attracted crowds of children wherever we went. Look, Jess Beaker's got a dog. What's your dog's name, Jess? He's so sweet. Can I pat him? But we're not allowed dogs, you know that. He'll have to be put down. Yes, if you don't, you'll get evicted. I just smiled at them all. Alfie smiled too, and wanted to give everyone a lick. It felt so great. Everyone wished they were me, but didn't have time to hang out with all the Marlborough Tower kids. I went over to Devonshire, which was where all the toughest families lived. The big boys were the worst. The shy boys had knives, and once a kid from Marlborough was crazy enough to disrespect them and ended up in A&E. Even the little boys were scary and threw stones, and the babies in their buggies looked like they'll spit at you. You better guard me, Alfie, I said. I hope Alfie understood guard better than heal. Two boys from Tyrone gang called, What you doing there, beaker bum? Clear off back to your own tower, or we'll give you what for. Oh, shut up, or I'll set my dog on you, I said. They didn't shut up, they said worse things. Get them, Alfie, I said, slacking his lead. Alfie went whooshing up to them, and started licking their hands and wagging his tail. He was a total feely as a guard dog, but he was so cute the boys stopped yelling at me and squatted down to pet him instead. Is he really yours, Jess Beaker? You're not allowed dogs if you live here. Yes, but I'm moving, see? Me and my mum are going to live over at Sean Joffrey's house, I said. They gawped at me. You're having us on, they said in unison. No, I'm not. His car's parked down in Marlborough, and my mum's packing our stuff right this minute. I've come to show Elfie to Tyrone. Is he about? They shook their heads. I think he's indoors, said one. He's on the 9th floor, said the other, sounding and slapping and that. It had taken all my coach to go over to Devonshire Tower. I didn't dare climb the stairs to the 9th floor and knock at Tyrone's door. His mum looked terrifying, and her boyfriend was probably worse. But luckily I wasn't put to the test. One of the boys suddenly pointed. There he is, over at the playground. He was on one of the swing tires. his back to us. They shouted his name, but he didn't turn round. He was hunched over, his head down. Doesn't look like he wants company. I'll go and see, I says. Come on, Alfie. I want you to meet my mate, Tyrone. He walked over to the play area. It was obvious there was something wrong with Tyrone. I couldn't hear sniffing noises. I hoped he wasn't crying. I coughed loudly so he knew someone was coming. Alfie hadn't understood about enemies, but was brilliant when it came to my friends. He went rushing up to Tyrone and tried to lick his ankles. Tyrone wriggled his half laugh, half cry. Alfie jumped straight up to his lap and licked his face. Tyrone winced. No wonder. He had a bloodshot eye, and the skin all around it was puffed up alarmingly. Oh, Tyrone, your eye, I said. It's nothing, he mumbled. Did your mum thump you? Yeah, she did, but it was her boyfriend that punched me in the face for upsetting her. I hate him. I hate her too, said Tyrone. Is this your Alfie then? Well, you lucky thing, Jess. I looked for Staffy at Betsy. I saw a brown one, but I don't think he was yours, I said sadly. Probably not. I had him ages ago. Tell you what, you can have a little share of Alfie if you like. We're not going to be living here any more, but I'll get Sean Joffrey to drive over sometimes, and then you can take Alfie for walks with me if you want, I said. That would be great, with Sean Joffrey too, Joe asked softly. Yes, if you like. He says you're very talented at football, he said. Yeah, but he didn't really mean it. Yes, he did. He told us he wants you to join his special squad for nothing. Wow, real? Oh, wow, really? He nodded. I sat on the tire, and we both swung very slowly and gently so that Alfie wouldn't get seasick. He kept jumping off Tyrone's lap and jumping onto mine, and then back again. You're like a jumping bean, Alfie, I said. He's a great little dog, Tyrone stroked him. You're so lucky, Jess, he said again. I swallowed. I know. I kept telling myself just how lucky I was, all the way to Sean's house. I walked Alfie all around the huge grounds and showed him a tree far away in the corner. This is a good place for wee-wees, I says. Poos too, if you can imagine it. But you must never ever go to the toilet in the house, okay? Alfie didn't seem to be listening. He bounded over to the grass extension and peered at the pool. He barked hopefully. No, this isn't a pool for dogs, it's for humans. And I don't even know if you can swim or not. Maybe when Sean Joffrey's not around, I'll let you try a little doggy paddle. I wonder if they do water wings for dogs, I said. Come on, I'll show you round the house now. But you've got to behave indoors, okay, Alfie? Promise? I wiped all four of his paws with a tissue first, which was just as well. Alfie was very keen on the cream rugs. He thought they were especially put there for him to roll on. He liked the cream sofas even more, assuring they were dog loungers. He especially liked the beds upstairs, and threw himself on each one, play fighting the duvet. I said, no, Alfie, again and again and again, but he just grinned at me, saying, yes, Jess, again and again and again. I showed him the kitchen because I knew it wouldn't have any rugs or sofas or beds. Sean Joffrey was sitting at his huge kitchen table drinking a beer. Hi there, Jess, he said, like a drink. A juice or something fizzy? No, thank you, I said politely. But could Alfie Pussy have a bowl of water? Sure, said Sean Joffrey, and poured out a bottle of Evian water into a china bowl. See how lucky you are, Alfie, I whispered. Other dogs get ordinary tap water in any ordinary chipped bowl. Alfie was very appreciative and served and slurped. I had to wait for him to finish. I didn't know what else to say to Sean Joffrey, and he didn't seem to know what else to say to me now, though he nodded his head in a friendly fashion whether he caught my eye. My dad never knew what to say to me either. I kept rehearsing things I might say to Sean Joffrey inside my head, but they were all too direct. Do you really like my mum? Will you always look after her? Do you like the idea of us living here? Do you wish I wasn't part of the bargain? Are you pretending to like me the way I'm pretending to like you? Your mum's still upstairs getting your room sorted, said Sean Joffrey at last, taking another swig of beer. You can get it painted all pretty and pink and girly if you like. No, thank you, I said politely, though inside I was thinking, yuck. Well, you choose a colour then, and you can have some new cushions and rugs, and maybe a little dressing table and toys too, he went on. Can't I keep my old things? I asked. Well, you can if you want, but I thought you would like new stuff, said John Joffrey, to go with your new bedroom. I started to get worried and went to find Mum, Alfie gambolling along beside me. He wasn't used to stairs and stood stock still, puzzled. Still, I showed him that you went by step. He soon got the hang of it, and liked it so much he wanted to tear up and down, demently barking with excitement. Shh, Alfie, stop that barking. It's just stairs. Come on, we're looking for Mum, I said. She was on her hands and knees in one of the bedrooms, delving into the big laundry bag containing my clothes. These bags, she says, they were part of my childhood. Whenever I went to a new home, I had to shove all my stuff in. It made me feel like I was dirty washing. We are going to get ourselves a set of matching suitcases, Jess. I squatted down beside her and rummaged through the bag too. They are all my things, Mum. All my cuddly toys. Where are all my things, Mum? All my cuddly toys. What, the ones I won at the amusement arcade? I don't think you'd want them anymore. They're all a bit grubby now, and you never play with them, said Mum, smoothing out t-shirts and jeans. I do want them, Mum. Look, I've saved old Roofer for you, she said, throwing him at me. I should think so, I said, catching him. Alfie leaped up excitedly, thinking it was a game. Look, Alfie wants to make friends with him, I said, holding Woofer out to him. It was a mistake. Alfie didn't understand. He seized Woofer in his mouth and ran round and around the room with him triumphantly. No, Alfie, bring him back, I called. As if, said Mum. Alfie came running towards me. There, look, good boy, Alfie, I said, holding out my hand for Woofer. Alfie stood and understand. He seemed to think that Rufo was a tuggy toy. He clamped his jaw on tight and pulled hard, as if it was a wonderful game. When I eventually distracted him by throwing a pair of my socks, I gazed at Rufo in dismay. He looked extremely shocked, his head lolling, one leg hanging loose, and the stitches on his tummy coming undone. Oh dear, don't worry. I'll see if I can sew him back together again, said Mum. I swallowed hard. I was so used to pretending Swoofer was real that it was hard remembering he didn't actually have any feelings. Alfie didn't mean it, I whispered into his floppy ear. He was just playing with you. Don't worry. I won't let him do it again. He can't help being a bit rough. Alfie was now deep in the laundry bag, pulling out more socks, knickers, and pajamas, scraping through them joyfully. You better take him out of here, said Mum. He's driving me crazy. Alfie managed to get a pair of knickers and caught on the end of his nose and looked so funny that we both started laughing. Come here, you monkey, I said, grabbing him. I sat on the bed with Alfie on my lap, though he struggled to get down. Watch he doesn't get his paws on that white duvet, said Mum. I looked at it. Can't I have my blue duvet? I asked. Well, it's ever so faded now, and it's got that hot chocolate stain. It wouldn't really go with the rest of the room, would it? Said Mum, looking round at the pale grey walls and the biscuit-coloured rug. Sean Joffrey said I could have the room any colour I wanted, I said. Sean, not Sean. Sean, not Sean Godfrey. Well, yes, you can, but maybe you'd like a different colour scheme? You've had blue for ages, said Mum. I like blue, I said. Okay, he said suggestingly. John Joffrey suggested pink, frilly and girly. I don't have to have pink, do I asked. No, you can have anything you like. Then I'll have blue again. We like blue, don't we, Alfie? I said, and I gently made him nod his head. You can have blue then. Blue walls, blue curtains, blue bedding, blue quilts. You can wear bright blue face paint and dye your hair navy. Okay, said Mum. But don't think I'll always going to give in to you, Jessica Bluebell Camilla Beaker. Look, I know this is a bit of an upheaval and probably feels rather overwhelming. I feel a bit weird too, actually, she says, looking round the room. It's like I'm in a dream. This is all I've ever wanted for us, Jess. I can't quite believe it's all happening for real. Alfie started whimpering a little, desperate to get down from the bed. So I let him go, and he immediately ran over to the floor, lifted his back leg, and did away all down the white paint. Oh my lord, said Mum, using my knickers to try and mop it up. It's not his fault, Mum. He was trying to tell me he needed to go. I just didn't realize in time. He drank a whole bowl of water downstairs. I gasped. I peered at the door. Some of Alfie's wee had sprinkled the carpet in a very wrongly way. What will Sean say? I asked. I don't imagine he'll be thrilled, but he won't know because I'll scrub it clean somehow. But you better make sure that you take Alfie out into the garden regularly. Don't tell Sean just now. I don't want him thinking we're at liberty when we've only been here 5 minutes, said Mum. And I want you to be careful too, Jess. I'm not going to wet the carpet, I said indignantly. I should hope not. No, I mean, you ought to keep your things tidy and not make a mess. No games like Twister and no potato prints. Mom, I don't do babyish stuff like that anymore, I said. Twister had been one of my favorite games. I pretended this terrible wind was blowing. I made it toss the curtains and curtains about and send all the books tumbling off the shelf. And then Mum and I had to hide under the table, clutching each other. When we were hungry, I'd staggered out of the kitchen, almost on my hands and knees, snatched up a packet of biscuits, then crawled back, and we'd munch companionably, even though the wind was howling around us. I'd also loved making potato prints. We'd learned how to do them in infants, cutting a pattern in half a potato, dipping it in a salsa paint, and then stamping a design on a sheet of drawing paper. I did this at home, but we soon ran out of paper, so I printed on the kitchen wall. I did a very neat frisbee above the skirting board, and Mum says she thought it looked great, though even then I knew she was only pretending. So I can never play a game or do any art now we live here, I said. Yes, of course you can. Just don't go too wild and clear up after yourself. Sean's very particular, said Mum. I pulled a face. Don't look like that. He had it very tough when he was young. He never had any clean clothes and his house was a dump. He just likes to keep things nice now. I can understand that, can't you? I don't really want to understand, Mum. Was forever making excuses for Sean Joffrey. And because it was his house, he got to say what we did. That evening, we had to watch a James Bond film in his cinema room. Lots of kids might have thought this a treat, but I don't like them. I don't think Mum's that keen either. But she made out she was loving every minute. I know for a fact that she was holding hands with Sean Joffrey in the dark. He cooked us a meal too. Great big steak and very thin chips. The chips were fine, but I don't really like meat, especially when it was a vast lump that's still bloody in the middle. He only had a few nibbles out of mine. Come on, Jess, eat up. That's prime fillet, said Sean Joffrey. I don't like meat very much, thank you, I said. It's good for you. You could do with eating a bit more. You're very pale and skinny, he said. I like being pale and skinny. Who wants to be big and beefy with a red face like Sean Godfrey? I thought. Mom would stick up for me, but she told me to eat up. I cut up my steak meat, but I didn't actually eat it. I slipped my bits to Alfie under the table. I think Mom knew what I was doing, though she kept quiet. Sean Joffrey didn't have a clue until Alfie gave a eager wolf for another piece. You're not giving that prime steak to the dog, are you, Jess? He asked. No, I says. Well, just a little bit. No, you have any idea how much it cost? I'm sorry, but Alfie needs to be fed too. Yes, and he'll get fed. I bought tins of dog food for him. Tell you what, I'll give Alfie the steak for his tea, and serve you a plate of dog food. Is that what you prefer? It's all right, Jess, Mum said quickly. Sean's only teasing, aren't you, Sean? Yes, of course, he said, pulling a funny face. I wasn't sure. Perhaps eat another 3 mouthfuls and then you can leave the rest, said Mum. So she doesn't have a big appetite, Sean. Fine, he says. I don't want to force the kid to eat. It's just I thought it would be a treat. When I was a kid, I hardly got a burger, let alone steak. Most nights we had to make to do with a portion of chips from the chippy. When I lived at the dumping ground, going to McDonald's was the biggest treat in the world, said Mum. I couldn't believe my luck when Cam took me there, and she chatted away determinedly to give me a chance to calm down. I put one fingernail-sized piece of steak in my mouth and started chewing. I chewed and chewed and chewed, but it wouldn't go down. Alfie's damp nose was then pressed against my knee, and I couldn't feel it. I could feel him trembling with anticipation. I couldn't understand why I'd suddenly stopped feeding him. He gave me a little woof to remind me that he was there, and he was hungry. It gave him an emphatic pat. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good move. Alfie thought I had meat in my hand. He didn't like being teased any more than I did. He barked indignantly. You're not feeding him again, are you? Sean Godfrey demanded. No, I'm not, though he's getting upset. I says, it's so unfair, us having our tea while he's not allowed any. Oh, for goodness sake, look, I'll take him in the kitchen and give him some dog food in a bowl right this minute. Will that satisfy you? He pulled Alfie out from under the table, got hold of his collar, and hauled him towards the kitchen. Don't! He doesn't like being pulled like that, I said. He's a dog, Jess. He's got to know his place, said John Godfrey, taking Alfie away. I knew my place in this household, too. I was under Sean Joffrey's thumb, and I hated it. Alfie hated it, too. He was given a bowl of dog food, but he clearly didn't think it was a fair exchange. He hated being shut in the kitchen, away from me. He started howling, scraping at the door with his paws. I put my knife and fork together on my plate, unable to eat any more. Now you're just being deliberately awkward, Jess, said Sean Joffrey. Eat up. Don't tell Jess what to do, Sean, said Mum. She's not used to being spoken to like that. Yes, well, it's obvious you've spoiled her rotten, he said. Mum went white. She put her own knife and fork together. Are you saying I'm not a good mum? She said. I held my breath. So did Sean Joffrey even... Alfie stopped howling for a second. I'm not saying anything of the kind. You're a wonderful mum, Chase. You know you are. I don't mean to upset you, darling. I just hate to see food wasted, that's all. I'm a bit hyped up. I shouldn't have nagged you like that. Jess, I'm sorry. Maybe he was. I think he was just scared that Mum might lose her temper altogether and walk out, and we'd only just got here. But his little speech worked. Mum took a deep breath and then reached out and patted his head. I'm sorry too, Sean, he muttered. It must feel a bit odd having us here, Jess and me and the dog, all cluttering up your home. No wonder you're a bit tense. He took hold of Mum's hand and held it tightly. You're a gem, he said huskily. I was allowed to leave the rest of my meat. I found I couldn't even eat much of the chocolate mousse. It was an enormous relief when the meal was over. Mum and Sean sat over their cups of coffee while I went into the kitchen to uncomfort Alfie. He leaped up eagerly, so happy to see me. I gave him a big hug and made a huge fuss of him, but I was conscious of a horrible smell. I looked at the floor. There was something terrible on the quarry tiles. Oh, Alfie, I whispered. Perhaps that was why he'd been howling. He was desperately trying to tell me he needed to go out. It wasn't his fault, but Sean Joffrey would go bananas. I don't know what to do. If I called Mom, then Sean Joffrey would want to know what was going on. I had to deal with it myself. There were kitchen towels, thank goodness, and then I wiped up the floor with a J cloth and bundled that into another kitchen towel. I found some disinfectant spray and got a go with that for good measure. Then I washed my hands thoroughly, opened the window wide, and took Alfie out for a walk in the garden. I held all the kitchen towels at arm's length till I could chuck them into Sean Joffrey's waste bin. It was an enormous relief to get rid of them. I took a proper breath for the first time in 5 minutes, and then started running. Alfie bobbed along ahead of me, constantly running around to check that I was still there. We hate Sean Joffrey, don't we? I said to him. Alfie agreed. But Mum liked him. When she came to kiss me goodnight in the new room, that was my bedroom. She cuddled me close and says, "It's all working out okay, isn't it, Jess?" "I suppose so," I says, "but I hate not having half my things. And where are all our ornaments, our china dogs and the toby jugs and the birds and the little teddies?" "Sean doesn't really like clutter, Jess." "But we like it." "Well, perhaps a few more bits in here and there, perhaps he won't notice," said Mum. "Don't let's stress about it. We're going to be so happy here. Um, you and me." "And Alfie," I says. He was curled up in the brand new dog bed that Sean Joffrey had bought him for Betsy Dog's home. But as soon as Mum had gone, he started whimpering. I felt a bit like whimpering too. "Come here, Alfie," I said, patting the bed. He didn't need to be asked twice. He came bounding over and he leaped up beside me on the white duvet. I held him close, breathing in his lovely warm dog smell. When we heard Sean Joffrey laughing downstairs, he started growling. "I wish he'd shut up, don't you, Alfie? We don't like him. We don't even like this house. It's so strange and different. Even Mum's different. Do you think she's right? Will we really be happy here?" I asked him. Alfie didn't seem sure, and neither was I. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do any more clothes today because I am tired. But I am going to do the shopping because I haven't put the shopping away yet. But yeah, that's chapter 10. So I'm up to date now because I was just going to say I want to do up to chapter 10 today. So yeah,